This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years.
It's become a global ritual. The new iPhone hits the stores and the lines form around the block.
Smartphone junkies anxious to be among the first to buy the new iPhone.
In fact, would-be buyers have been waiting in line for days.
I just want to let you know that I finally, officially, have an iPhone. Guys, I'm so excited! I just got my new phone! This is the iPhone 6! I can't believe.
My motivation and my spirit is really not well. My mind is not well.
You have to make faces when you take selfies?
Wait, one more now.
Oh, there you go.
Better angle. Every girl in the picture is locked into her phone.
Silicon Valley is engineering your phone, apps, and social media to get you hooked.
One former Google employee says this is no accident. Indeed, it is by design.
A handful of people at a handful of technology companies shaped how 1 billion people think and feel every day with the choices they make about these screens.
I mean, it's exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with, because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology.
And it's clearly working. Today, wherever we go, we're inevitably surrounded by fellow citizens staring into their phones, as we usually are too.
We've all been there. We've seen the scrolling, the games, the videos, the texting, all of it. And simply put, a lot of children struggle to even put their devices down.
Rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide among young people have risen dramatically in the last decade.
Worse mental health, increased behavior problems, decreased academic performance, and poorer sleep.
Now a new study shows it's getting worse.
The company's researchers found that Instagram is harmful for a sizable percentage of them, most notably teenage girls.
Smartphones invade nearly every aspect of our lives.
Esteem, decreased confidence, increased anxiety, increased depression, harder trouble sleeping.
This thing is a slot machine.
All that screen time impacts the physical structure of your kids' brains, as well as their emotional development and mental health.
These days, a question every parent of a young child will answer sooner or later is, at what age do you give them a smartphone?
Studies have shown smartphones are detrimental to a child's development, but there's a lot of peer pressure among children and parents to give kids a smartphone at too young of an age.
Brooke Shannon started getting the questions from her kids when they were in about the 2nd or 3rd grade.
My children were 3rd grade, 2nd grade, and in preschool, and they already had friends with smartphones. And they wanted to know, when can I have a smartphone? What I kept hearing from other parents was that they wanted to wait. They wanted to delay giving this device to their kids, but what they had either experienced with older kids or what they had heard from friends is that it's hard to wait because it starts to feel like somewhere around 5th grade that all the kids have these devices.
I think 4th or 5th grade is absolutely too early for kids to be getting smartphones with complete access to the internet and social media. I have a lot of concerns about it, how it's impacting their mental health, their social skill development, and their ability to develop healthy friendships.
10 or 11 is too young for a child to get a smartphone. And the reason is because there are these key developmental experiences that need to occur in sensitive windows in terms of their age. And those are at risk of being crowded out by a smartphone.
The way the phone is designed is to keep giving you hits to your dopamine. And there's a dopamine loop that makes it harder and harder and harder to put the phone down.
What I just read recently is 7 to 9 hours is the average amount of time adolescents spend on their screens. They can't enjoy life's natural dopamine drips and joys throughout the day because they're getting so much while scrolling on their phone or playing games on their phone.
It's distracting their minds. And it's just generally getting in the way of more productive uses of their time.
Recently, I was driving around when the middle school dismissal was happening, and I just saw all of the kids leaving school, and every single one of them, they were walking in a pack together, and they were like this. And nobody was talking to each other. And I just had this vision of my kids growing up not having any sort of social interactions because while they're together in theory, they're truly each on their own device, not speaking to each other.
We are collectively seeing so much learning fallout, social fallout, psychological fallout, and just the added stress and tension in families.
Turning now to an issue we have focused on for years, the impact of technology and screen time on our children. Every family grapples with it. And this morning, when it comes to social media, the Surgeon General is making a bold statement. In an op-ed in the New York Times, Dr. Vivek Murthy writes in part, "It is time to require a Surgeon General's warning label on social media platforms, stating that social media is associated with significant mental health harms for adolescents."
The algorithm that feeds them videos does not care about their mental health and well-being. It's just designed to keep them on as long as possible. So we're seeing these young girls who are interested in beauty and fashion, and then all of a sudden their feed is filled with diet content, exposing them to these ideas they've never heard of before, restricting calories, for example. And so the beauty content becomes diet content, which becomes eating disorder content. And this is a huge concern of mine as a mother and as a licensed therapist, that we're seeing this huge increase in eating disorders, anxiety, and depression among teen girls.
So how do you trap a boy? Is it going to be, hey, do you want to know about the latest gossip? Well, not as much.
Right.
But how about, hey, do you want to form teams and play war games? Oh my God, yes, sign me up. The boys get lured in by video games, and the other thing is pornography. Hey, do you want to look at naked people having sex?
Yeah.
It allows them to satisfy their desires without doing anything that would develop them and turn them into men.
If you realize that something was bad for you, like cigarettes or not wearing a seatbelt, would you give your younger child that if your older child had already experienced it? And we feel like, no, as a parent, like we need to do everything possible to make sure that our kids are safe and healthy and are living their best life to become that successful, independent, thriving adult.
We've made the decision to delay smartphones, and they know that. I hadn't encountered anybody or any particular organization that was saying, hey, this is actually something we should wait on. But I didn't really see a path for how I would make this choice. It felt like it was going to be made in isolation.
It's basically impossible to win the battle against your kids when it comes to smartphones if you don't have community support behind you. And so we have to figure out, how do we do this on our own? And I think the way to do that is to create a community that's committed to accomplishing this together.
What if we waited together? What if we said yes to delaying the smartphone as a group? Would that be easier? Would it be easier for our kids if they knew they were not the only ones without this device? If they had 10, 15, 20 friends who were also waiting, what difference would that make in delaying the smartphone?
And you know, parents, we've felt powerless for so long when it comes to screens and smartphones, but there is a movement happening. Wait until 8th.
Wait until 8th.
Wait until 8th.
Wait until 8th.
A Texas-based pledge now sweeping the U.S.
It's a movement called Wait Until 8th, where parents are banding together and pledging their names to not give their child a smartphone until the end of 8th grade.
Parents are now pushing back, pledging to protect their kids from the smartphone until they're ready for it.
You know, I think that wait until 8th and that whole idea of their strength in numbers, you know, like casually the moms, we have a second grader and a preschooler, but it's like the second grade moms were like, if we all get together and these kids are going to be in school together all these years, then there's not as much being ostracized.
The pledge is very simple. It's to wait until at least the end of 8th grade to get your child a smartphone. And after that, once 10 parents have signed in your kid's school or grade, they have an opportunity to connect with one another. I think more parents are seeing that there's a collective action problem that needs a collective action solution.
Wait until 8th is such a brilliant design that really, from my perspective, speaks to the heart of the matter. It gives families the opportunity to create a community within a school to protect your child, not only from the fallout, the neurological, psychological, social fallout of technology, but from social isolation.
You start to feel like you're not the only one, that the pressure to give your child a smartphone at an early age because they're going to be left out, you decrease that pressure to conform to these new societal norms that kids need a smartphone at an early age.
It helps knowing that you're not alone. And when the kids start saying, well, so-and-so, and you can point and say, well, look at all these kids. They don't have a phone.
I was so excited to find out that there was a community of people that were just like my family in values and our want to delay. And so it really gave me a sense of hope that I can do this as a parent and that we have support.
You need the community to band together and to collectively say, we're not going to do this as a unit.
When it comes to tech, we're seeing so many parents feel so alone during this time. And I desperately want them to know you're not alone. So having something like Wait Till 8th, the pledge, is so important so that not only is that community feel and that support, but also the follow through of, I know that when my kid comes home and says, I'm the only one without a phone, you've got like 50 other moms on board that you know for a fact are not giving their kid a phone, and you can remind yourself of that. So it gives you that confidence as the parent, but also you can lean on each other as well.
I sent an email to our whole class, and I could not believe how quickly these parents signed up. They were like, yeah, I haven't even thought about this, and this is something I would love to just link arms on. And so I think that initial boldness of taking the step to say, I feel really compelled that this is something I'd like to wait on, and I'm raising my hand to link arms with you, was received so well. It just built great community really quickly.
The more we work on this and the more we recruit other parents, the easier it is to get everybody on board. And it's really been a little bit of a snowball effect where the pledges started coming in slowly, but then once we hit some sort of mass where other parents were able to look at it and say, oh wow, this is already going and I believe in it and I don't want to miss this ride, everybody else has started joining.
Absolutely, it's picking up steam. I mean, even in our town of Wilmette, we've seen a 5x increase over the past year.
It's how a local woman is bringing national attention and a national movement right here to Kansas City.
More than 1,500 families in 43 states have signed the pledge.
The grassroots movement is now national, and today more than 4,300 parents from all 50 states have signed the Wait Until 8th pledge.
6,200 families have signed the pledge.
The tech-free idea went viral, and now 20,000 families in all 50 states have taken the pledge.
Over 35,000 parents across the country have made the Wait Until 8th pledge.
The Wait Until 8th campaign has just hit a major milestone. 60,000 pledges from parents nationwide.
And those parents tell me this pledge is working.
Our local chapter here in Summit is already, I think, up to 350 pledges. There are 5 of us who started it together. We sent a bunch of emails, we sent a bunch of text messages, and we just started the conversation within the community. And through the power of word of mouth, someone told another friend, and we just gained a lot of momentum. And it was exciting. Like, we felt like finally we're making progress. Like, look how quickly we're picking up pledges. That made us feel like what we were doing was actually making a difference and actually working.
The Wait Until 8th pledge is a parent-led movement. At any given point, a parent who's interested in signing the pledge and being part of the movement can go onto our website at waituntil8th.org, sign the pledge, and share the pledge with other parents from their child's school.
The best organization there is giving parents really specific hands-on tools about what to do, what we can do at home, what we can do as a school community. I think it's been the best resource for strategies for individual families and school communities to come together and pay attention to this research and take action.
Any behavior change needs to start with setting a goal and setting an intention. And so in this respect, this is a wonderful goal to strive towards, and there are tremendous resources that you can use to facilitate this and spread the word within your school community.
You're not going to regret delaying it. I think the only regret you will have is introducing it too soon. The sooner they get on it, the sooner you're fighting the battle of an addictive interface and of text messages that shouldn't have been sent, or images that shouldn't have been shared, or photos that shouldn't have been taken.
Just try. There's no penalty to you if you take the pledge and then you don't make it until high school. We want you to. We're going to try our best to. But if you can't make it, you can't make it. But every day that you go by without getting a smartphone is a win for you and your kids.
It's not delay for the sake of making it easy for you, but delay for the sake of letting your child mature further.
The pledge gives you a sense of hope that there is something you can do as a parent to kind of take your child's childhood back into your own hands.
I also really encourage parents to get your kids engaged in the real world, doing exciting things. If we're asking them to not be on their devices, we have to help them to find other exciting things in their lives that make them look forward to being out in the real world, to being with friends.
You have the power at home, and you have the power as a community to come together to make smart choices that will protect your child's healthy development.
So to parents who are out there and considering starting the pledge on their own and championing the pledge in their own schools, my words of encouragement would be go for it. I would also say that I have tremendous hope and optimism that we're at a tipping point where what feels like a gigantic heavy lift in this moment in terms of delaying or denying access to smartphones for our younger kids, I think in 1 to 2 years' time, we'll look back and say, what a wonderful choice and how obvious and how is it possible that people didn't do this before our time.